My gosh, it's been a while since I was down here. Couple of months, I suppose. Oh, I thought that might be a transverse. I thought I might do my little first find of the day, being a transverse. No, I got a tip from Jürgen last night that there were, huntable conditions down here, and actually kind of good. I almost stopped off here on the way back from work yesterday, but didn't bother. I thought it would still be quite icy, and honestly, I thought the water would have gone up quite significantly by now. But it's very low still. I mean, it's a lot higher than it was when I was making all of those finds at the end of last year. It was about around that ridge line there. Oh, it's exciting. This is cool. I am excited for the potential of something good. One little bladelet to start the day. Nice micro blade work. Could have seen time in a fire, this one. Seemed to be some kind of pitting on there. No, it's fun to be back. Really nice. I can't stay here all day today. Stuff to do, but I've got a few hours. Nothing spectacular as yet. But I did find this, which I believe is a piece of prehistoric pottery. There seems to be something stuck on this side of it as well. That could be, from cooking or so. You can definitely see the lamination of it. I wonder if that is decoration, these lines across it. Yeah, that's cool. Bit of algae there. You can just see some small spots of temper in places. The shell and the quartz that they crushed to make this stuff stronger. Yeah, interesting. It's very dark, so it's probably been in a fire, cooking away something or other. I might revisit that when it's a bit more dry later. Still some large sheets of ice around. I also wanted to mention there's a YouTube channel. It was Francis at Forntide Sloyd that mentioned it to me. Oh, that's a nice bit of blade work. My gosh. Look at those negatives running down there. This is quite a classic removal where they would take the whole face off a core running down to the base. It's really common to see this. I don't know if they're annoyed by this hinged fracture here. But that is a cool piece of flint. Love the colour as well. Very pretty. Well, I did not see that all of, last year when I was down here. So it's certainly new material that's been washed out. That is cool. But anyway, as I was saying, Forntide Sloyd. Francis, anyway, on Instagram. He sent me a link to a YouTube video of a guy, account calls himself Beckham Outdoors. And I got a mention in one of his videos, so that made my evening.
There's a YouTube channel called Flinting Scandinavia. You can go watch this guy. Every trip he finds these transverse arrow points, seems like.
So go and check him out. He did a video, I'll put a link in the description. It was a video about transverse arrowheads. And he just mentioned about how many I find. I probably do find more transverse arrowheads than anyone in the world, I would imagine. So that was kind of cool. I am the voice of transverse, and a little hammerstone here. Just turn away from the wind. Yeah, nice bit of hammering on this surface here. You can see that this was a core. There's the striking platform. Flakes running down through here. Lazy edge prep on this area. And then they've used the base of the core as a hammer for a while. And that's made it patinate faster than the flatter surfaces. The arises tend to patinate first because they're exposed from you know, more angles than the flat surfaces, so to speak. Just found this beautiful large for down here, piece of quartz, almost rose quartz. Taya can have this. Now I don't know if this has been actually brought here by prehistoric people. I'm not sure if it's natural around here or not, especially rolled like this. It could be, I guess, but it is intriguing. There's not much like this around here. That's probably the largest piece I've found. I thought this piece was worth a quick look. It's just a piece of burnt wood, some charcoal from a fire. Now, of course, this could be some modern barbecue evidence, but there's every chance that that dates to the Stone Age as well. There really is. I mean, it almost seems more likely that it's from the Stone Age because we're so far down from the summer levels that no one's having a barbecue on this surface. Is that another piece? No, that's the proximum of a blade. Beautiful dark flint. That looks like it might have been in a fire. Yeah, I really do believe that was probably very, very old burning. So cool. Okay, we might be onto the first transverse of the day here. I was about to pluck it and I stopped myself and thought, no, get your camera out. This down here, it certainly has potential. It's the right shape. I think I see retouch. Yeah, that's a lovely transverse, my word. What a little beauty. Get in. It might just be missing some of the base. Could have gone to a square edge down there at the base. You know the drill. I'll dry it and show you later. Lovely stuff. I don't get tired of these. I saw a lovely bladelet as well as I was bending down to get that one. Where did you go? It looks really nice and straight, this one. This looks like some real short-faced blade core Congamossa work. That's a beautiful bladelet. Good times. Just found this rather attractive blade in a kind of leafy shape. Typical Lake Patina, this kind of grey blue. And just one nicely curved edge of, I won't say cortex, it's more, well, very, very rolled cortex perhaps. There's a really beautifully patinated blade here. Dark brown, orangey, blue tones coming through in the centre of the dorsal there. Rusty colour on the ventral. It's complete actually because that's rolled cortex or pebble surface on the inside of this concavity. That's some very pretty flint. I suppose it's just normal grey Scandinavian flint on the inside. Cool with the patina though, I do love it when it goes like that. A pitted wear point in that would be nice, please, today. I should have done a reveal on this one. I knew as I picked it up. It might even be in the last cut shot. If I can see it, then I'll pause the video and put a little arrow to it. Here's another little transverse. Ertabolla culture, late Mesolithic or early Neolithic. Funnel beaker type. It's hard to know sometimes which culture and period these slot into. I find so many kind of roughly shaped ones around here though that I guess they're mostly funnel beaker. There's plenty of crossover here though. I won't show you this one again when it's dry. I think you can see enough of it there. Good retouch. Ah, so cool. I wonder what they were firing that at. There's what I consider to be really classic Congamossa blade work here with this central facet or plateau. You know, just talking about crossover in the periods. Could be modern damage or some kind of use wear from, you know, scraping it on something. They do get rolled around here, but they're quite sheltered in the sand for the most part on this side of the lake. There's not a real heavy gravel deposit for them to get tumbled in. This is a rare find down here. I mean, it's smashed to pieces. But this is a section of polished axe. You can just see the side profile there, the flat sides of the axe, and then there's some very obvious polish on this side. That surface there with those scratch marks, grinding marks. I guess that is a I was going to say a pitted wear recycled one, but if I'm finding so many funnel beaker transverse, it could be from those guys as well, I suppose. I know that one axe that did turn up here a few years ago now was lightly mined for blades, let's say, so I always considered that as a pitted wear recycled axe. No, cool to see though. It's always nice to see a bit of polish. The hours that went into that. Oh, that's a nice small blade. That's a pretty one. Struck that way. There's some mist rolling off the lake now. Just found this beautifully patinated drill. Really invasive retouch down this edge and here to form this very pointy point. Proximal end of a blade. Bulb here. Really cut straight across the blade to form the point. They would have had to push kind of hard to get those flakes off, unless they used a hammerstone and an anvil to do it. Yeah, that's a nice find. That might be worth a dry and another look, just to see how that patination changes when it dries. I've just seen this down here as well, talking about burning before. Not this, this is something else I just spotted. Nice blade, look at this. Oh, that could be a massive transverse. I hope so. Yeah, this is very soft wood. So this is very old. And that's been burned. That is almost certainly from prehistoric times. Gosh, it's amazing to think that stick just represents a moment in time where people were here just living their lives, you know. Incredible stuff. But let's have a look at this one. If this is a transverse, it's an absolutely stunning Neolithic type. Please be retouched. Oh, bugger. Not today. Oh well, I'll show you this dried. I'll just mark this spot on GPS. Oh, I'm a bit disappointed about that. That could have been an absolute beauty. I just found a nice truncated blade, or at least a part of. It's a break along there, but this edge is all retouch, I think. Hang on. Yeah, it's retouch in this concave area. So that's been used for some kind of task. It's beautiful flint. That is stunning flint. Many, many flakes. I guess it's all just waste material. But there's so much of it in one spot. This is surely where they were sat napping away a few thousand years ago. It just blows my mind every time I think about it. So crazy. Oh, that's a delaminated deer tooth. I'm down to these sticks that poke out of the lake. Old, potentially prehistoric fishing traps or something, a causeway out into the lake or out into the reeds. because I think there were reeds all through here during prehistoric times, because there's lots of this reed peat around. Anyway, I've made a couple of finds. This one is a tiny little scraper. That's a scraping edge there. You can just see some stepping here where it's been used or retouched. It's a complete flake. The bulb's up here. Yeah, whoops. So that one. And then this one was very interesting. Now, it's a blade. There's retouched to the ventral side down here at the base and to the dorsal down here to form almost a tang. Retouch along here, retouch along here, going to the ventral. Now I wonder, it's an old break, I'm wondering that this could be the start of a pitted ware arrowhead made on a blade that failed. Now it was struck in that direction, and this facet comes this way, so it's a bipolar blade, so it really probably is pitted ware. Now I wonder if this snapped as they were retouching this edge, so then they never finished the tang, because the tang doesn't look right for a pitted ware, not a finished one at least. It shouldn't be square like this, it would go to more, you know, it would taper down to more of a point. So I think that is an unfinished, discarded pitted ware point. I'd love a whole one, or a finished one. I'll go and put them back. It's really not as cold as I expected it to be down here today. I thought my hands would be freezing. Now I've returned to this piece of prehistoric pot to see if I could see more on it. Not especially. No, damp air, it's not drying, but I do have this drill and the transverse to show you, dried. I think you can see the retouch in there. I mean, it's pretty obvious. This side's a nice edge of retouch. It is hard to see in the light, especially when my pikey gloves get in the way. But the drill should be a bit more visible, as the retouch was so invasive. Yeah, that's nice. Lovely little drill. I thought it might, you know, go a lot lighter when it dried, but it's remained quite dark, this brown flint. Very similar to other drills I've found down here. Really very similar size, shape, strategy. Yeah, two really beautiful finds. I might head over to the other side of the river now though, see what it's saying over there. Just found this tiny piece of bone with some really obvious cut marks on there. Butchery marks, or perhaps decoration. That is fascinating. It's very fragile. Conditions aren't the greatest over here on the other side, but I did just find this absolutely stunning Kongomossa blade. Middle Meso, 5,800 to 6,000 BC-ish. Stunning blade work, wafer thin blade. Perfectly performed, just missing a bit of the distal end. And that classic Kongomossa plateau down the centre of the dorsal. Right, I'm down here at the main river hotspot now, and there's a lot of flint around, a lot of flakes, and I don't think I recognise most of them. And I've spotted what I believe is a lovely blade down here. This one. I mean, there's a huge, big chunky flake on top of it, and then there's this blade here. This looks like a lovely blade. Yeah, another Kongomossa type. Again with this central facet. Bryozoan flint. There looks to be some use wear down the edge of this. Note how the bottom edge is a lot cleaner than the top edge. There's some nicks on this bottom edge from lake tumbling, I dare say, but there's no reason for this top edge to be more damaged. Probably use wear. Cool. There might be something to find here today. What's this? Messy core, secondary flake, natural rock, and this nice blade. One more arrowhead and I'll be happy. I should be happy with 2 arrowheads really, shouldn't I? But I'm spoiled. It's true. No, not quite as much movement as I'd hoped for down here. It would be good if if I could catch it when the water's washed this, if a nice storm came through, then it would really wake up the site. I did find this other blade. Could be Kongomosse again, could be Ertabulla. But no, I will head over to the Field of Dreams now, and maybe something will have been washed out of there. We shall see. In a previous video I found a goose decoy and I wondered if it's still there, and it is. So one of these days I will grab that, maybe put it on one of my beams or something, much to Taya's dismay, no doubt. But yeah, let's get on this maze area and see if there's any flakes. I did have a look when they first ploughed it and found a few blades, but it was very dry. There's really not much soil exposed. I mean, look at this, there's just dead plant everywhere. But there's the occasional patch. I'll have a quick look. Just found this interesting kind of hooked shape drill right on the field edge. It's like a larger and, hooked version of what I found in the lake. Similar patina. I actually reached in to grab the quartz and then spotted it 20 centimetres away, hiding under the crop. Yeah, fun. This is a good spot here in the corner. No, not much to find on the field edge around that corner there. So I'm off this way, and just here is the field that's been ploughed, and hopefully it's settled a little bit more than it was the last couple of times I was here. Well, there's a few flakes washed out. There's enough to keep me moderately busy. I did just find this really pretty symmetrical retouched flake blade. I think it's retouched along this inside edge here and maybe at the distal, not sure about that. Definitely on this edge though. I'll give it a clean in the grass in a second. Here's that little flake. It's a really nice colour. It is indeed retouched down that edge there. I think you can see it. I don't think there's any evidence of use wear or anything on this other edge. And there looks to be maybe some modern damage on this edge here. It does shine up just that little bit more grey than this orangey colour. But this doesn't cut patina, so a little cutting flake or so. Yeah, really pretty colours. More so when it was wet, I have to say, but still. Fun. There's a right old group of weirdos over there. I'm feeling very watched right now. Who would be out in this kind of weather? I'm on my way back. Those people seem to have right off, so that's good. Yeah. No, it was fun though. We made a few finds. Saw a few pieces. And I'm not in a mad rush now to get to where I need to be this afternoon, so that's also kind of nice. Cool. I've definitely seen that before because it's at the edge of the field. It probably came from, a metre in or so. Yeah, if anything pops out on the way back to the field edge down there, of course I'll let you know. I'm just walking back down to the lake here. to wash my muddy boots before I get back to the car. I mean, they'll get sandy on the way out of here, but it's better than mud, I think. But there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and that's some really lovely pieces that I was gifted by my boss at work. I say my boss, he's actually Taya's uncle. The company I work for is owned by Taya's dad and uncle. Anyway, I've been doing this really big project, and I think he's happy with what I'm doing there. So much so that he gave me some pieces that were gifted to his father, I think back in the 60s, but I could be wrong there, by an archaeologist friend of theirs that they had. Now, they came from a bog site in central Scorner, and it's two really nice axes, one a flaked axe, which is just completely damage free. There is not a single speck of damage on it whatsoever. So it really does look like it's come out of archaeological context, let's say. So that one, and there's also polished, really beautifully polished kind of gouge axe with a gouge shaped cutting edge. And that's really nice. That's got some field damage or something, some kind of damage, but it's a lovely colour as well. And then finally he gave me a flint dagger, a short one, very heavily sharpened, but a lovely shape. But it actually came in two pieces, and I thought to myself, I could maybe repair this, fill the gap. There was like a triangular section missing. It was a modern brake. If it was a historical brake, I might not have done it, but it was a modern brake. So I filled it with Paraloid B72 soaked tissue paper to fill the gap, which I then carved into kind of flake scar shapes. Then painted it with some just acrylic paint. So it's all reversible, but I think I did a pretty decent repair job on it, honestly. So now it's a complete dagger again. Right, well, that's my boots sufficiently washed off, I guess. And I suppose all there is left to say is, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. And that might not be too long, because I would like to catch this or these sites as the water comes up. I also really wanted to recover and just take a look at this one bone that someone mentioned. I can't remember your name, but I'll put it up in the corner. Someone saw that there was a drilled piece of bone that I missed at what is the swimming beach here, that I hardly ever visit. And I went back and it was all frozen solid down there. It was a freezing cold evening after work. I think it was about -8 or -9 centigrade. And I think it was frozen solid under the ice, honestly. But maybe that will show up next year. I don't think it's worth going to have a look for it now, because the water's come up about 30 centimetres since then, I think, now that there's been some melting. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. And hopefully I'll see you soon.